How do I make money as a minimalist mom? Hi guys, this is Diane of Minimize to Maximize, where we explore how to minimize clutter and how to maximize life's fulfillment. And in terms of fulfillment, money, income is kind of a big deal in people's life. And no, I am not independently wealthy. I have not inherited a large amount of money that allows me to not earn an income. And so there are 5 ways that I do generate an income for me and my family. And what is one way that does not that does not generate income for me and my family is this YouTube channel. I earn $0 from it, even though I have spent hundreds of hours, at least 200, maybe 300 hours in 2024, the second half of 2024, to produce about 50 videos on minimalism and minimalist tips and how to declutter. This video, the channel has not generated enough subscribers, enough shares, enough activity for YouTube to have really paid attention to me. And by YouTube, I mean the algorithms that run what videos get watched, what videos get viral, and all of these things. So no, I am not a YouTuber earner, if you will. But I am like everybody else, and I do need and want to generate an income for me and my family. And out of the 5 ways that I do that, number 1 is that I have a part-time employee position. I have a job basically, and it is part-time by design, but it's been part-time for a few years. And I work for an organization that is very dear to my heart, because the organization helps survivors, victims of domestic violence and their family to escape danger, as well as to rebuild a new, healthier life for themselves and their loved ones. So it's really important work. It is social work. It is not a private organization in the sense that it is private, but it's not a for-profit, I'm going to sell stuff to you. It is a work of love, I would say. And so in that industry in general, in social work in general, whether it's helping the homeless or helping people with mental illness or domestic violence survivors, there's not a big potential for very generous salaries and money in the industry in general. And that's what it is. So that being said, it's a work of passion, and I'm very happy to work for this organization. I have fantastic colleagues as well, and I do good, useful work, and that's very important for my soul and for my heart. And I still earn an income, which is great and offers me and my family some stability and a reliable source of income. But that is not technically enough. So I have a second way to generate income, which is that I have a part-time business. Call it entrepreneurship or self-employment or whatever it is, but it's basically projects-based, and I do it around other things like my private life, my family life, so I can plug it in around my family life and my responsibilities and my wishes for the kind of involvement I want to have with my 10-year-old. And so this part-time business is actually helping people in their home to declutter and organize their home, to create simplicity and spaciousness, and to let go of what no longer serves them. I work with people who have a very hard time letting go of any physical object. And so the work that I do is not so much organizing and getting things out and that's done. The work that I do is to accompany people, guide them through the process of detachment and also letting go of some um, trauma and some wounds that are somehow connected to the objects in their lives. And so it's useful work. I use my trauma informed advocacy experience in this work. I use my life coaching skills in this work as well. And it's also physical and manual because it involves getting physical objects out of people's homes and making sure that process is a good, empowering process for them. So it earns me way more money than an employee position um, in social work in general. And so that's great. It's a great compliment, but then again, it is entrepreneurship. I am my own boss. I am responsible for finding my own clients, for doing the work and making sure it's done to completion so I do get paid. And so if none of those things happen, I don't get paid. So there are good months and there are some less good months. For example, back in September, we had wildfires that were only 2 miles away from our community. Lots of smoke, lots of concerns, flames. People started evacuating. And for about 3 weeks, the fires were not contained by the firefighters. So people were living more in survival mode, still trying to do their life, but understanding I need to get out of here potentially. So this was not the time when people decided, yes, let me organize my home and declutter. This was more of a vital survival situation. And so everything else really was not important to people. And so I didn't have many projects during that month. So the advantage of having my own little business is that I can fit it around my schedule as a mother, which is very important to me. I do like spending time with my son. I like to pick him up from school or from his school bus and dropping him off at school. And when he has shorter school days, then I like to be with him instead of him being at daycare. So I try to fit those projects around that, and that's worked out pretty good for me and my family, but still with the priority of being mom. So, but less stability. Okay, number 3 is really a mindset that that my husband and I have learned from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, from Robert Kiyosaki. It's a great little book. And it's to transform a liability into an asset. Let me explain. The house we live in is a liability because it costs us money. We need to pay for utilities, for maintenance, either the rent, the mortgage, the property tax, whatever. There's a fair amount of money coming out of our pockets. It's an expense. And in the world of finance, it's technically a liability. An asset actually, on the other end, brings money into your pocket. So different things can be assets, but when it comes to a home, it can be either or. And so in the case of the little cabin that we bought, my husband and I, about close to a decade ago, now we are at that point where this liability, because we used to live in it, now has the potential to become more of an asset because of renting it out. And that's what we have done. And so I'm quite involved in that management process of renting it out. And so turning that liability into an asset, creating a little bit of cash flow, little bit of income really not much at all. There's nothing to be like wowed about. But in the long run, let's say in another 5 years, in another 10 years, in another 20 years, and by the time we get to retirement, then the mortgage would have been hopefully paid off, and then the cash flow and the income would be way more substantial. It's more of a long-term project, but it is something to consider as income, like real estate that is income generating. And we're still little babies in that field, but it is something also that can be an asset, and something that can be sold in case of a big life challenging situation, like a very long difficult illness that would prevent either myself or my husband to work, or anything else that could happen in life, like losing a job and not being able to find another job for a while. That is more of a financial stability, but it does generate a little bit of income. So let's say it counts. Number 4 really is something that I rely on, frankly, is that my husband has a full-time job and he's the main breadwinner. So he's the one who works the most hours for an employer with stability of income. And that is something that not everybody has. If you are a single parent, it is so much harder to not have this additional partner to help support a family. So my mom was a single mom and of 2 kids, and I know how hard she worked. It was she worked just for us to get the basics, like live in a little apartment. She didn't have her own room, and we ate mostly pasta and cheese during the difficult time that she was a single mom. Financially, it is definitely harder, so I do appreciate having a partner who is a contributor to the family income in general. And number 5 is really related to minimalism in general, and the way we make money, and I make money as a minimalist family mom and person, is that I don't spend. We as a family don't spend excessively. And I know it's just an opinion, excessively, that doesn't mean anything. But one of the trends of our minimalist life is that we spend less. We have fewer desires and we have fewer needs to spend without feeling deprived of anything. So I save. We save. Our capacity for saving has increased because I am a minimalist mom. So every month I check our budget, I check our expenses, and over months after months after months, you start to realize there are some trends. You start to realize there are areas where you're spending probably too much money. And one of those areas for us, for example, was vehicles. Vehicles took a big chunk of our money, and so we had 3 vehicles, and we decided to sell one of them. So it saved us money on gas, on insurance, which was insane, and on maintenance of this van we used to have, which was really cool for traveling, but it was too big of a liability. So straight away we saved money, and that allows me and us to not have to stress about finding the money months after months to pay for all our expenses and liabilities. The fact that we have reduced consumption also means, for example, that when we moved to this new house, we fought the urge of buying new stuff to fill the new house with. And the only things we bought was truly essential We didn't have a table and chairs and mattresses because they were left at the other cabin that was being rented with furniture. So we were left moving to the new house without those essential things. So yes, we did invest in mattresses for every member of the family and for a table and chairs and also a set of dishes, which I got at the thrift store for like 20 bucks. So that was the extent of the consumption, but the urge to buy new stuff was really, really, really strong. And so, as minimalists, we had to ask ourselves, do we really need it? Is it really something that I need right now? Can it wait? Can it wait until a financial situation stabilizes a little bit? It was a big move. So, yes. And reducing consumption also means being mindful of our utilities consumption, not cranking up heat, gas in the home 24/7, but like adapting based on when we're here, when we're in bed, when we're awake, and things like that. One thing I do not budget is food. I want to eat the highest quality food I can afford in that moment. And so that means I am not going to restrict myself. It doesn't mean I'm going to go buy caviar and very expensive food. I am going to buy the basics, most nutritional food that I can find. And that includes good meat, good fish, good vegetables, good fruits, good grains, good nuts, good dairy, and the rest is and good coffee. That's not essential, but for me it kind of is. Good coffee and chocolate. Oh, okay. So those things, I pay good money for them because I want quality over quantity, and so I don't budget that. But what about everything else? Objects, stuff. We don't need more stuff. I don't need objects for decoration. I don't need more furniture. It's not an essential need. I don't need more clothes. We don't need more toys. We don't need more gadgets. We don't need more technology. We don't need a different vehicle. We don't need a different phone. We don't need a different laptop. We don't. There's a lot of things we don't need. And so compared to most people who have similar income, we save more, way more actually. And it's been astonishing because the pace of saving has been so good because our consumption has been so low in comparison to income. Even though we're not big earners, our saving has allowed us to put a down payment and buy a home and have a rental property. So that has been pretty amazing. And frankly, what do you call it? I want to credit the minimalist mindset and philosophy that has allowed us as a family to save money and to spend it on useful, long-term, helpful investments for us and our family, and in buying good quality food for us. Super important for me. And last but not least, in this spending restriction in a way, or in the way we've been able to save as minimalists, is that we spend less money on impulse purchases and eating out. Like, yes, there are many times that I don't want to cook, or that I'd rather stop by the restaurant or order a to-go meal, or just eat out in general. And we have definitely reduced this a lot. And now we eat meals at home, and sometimes for the fun of it, we go eat out at the restaurant, or have a coffee outside, or a cocktail, but it's not a thing that happens several times a week. It's something that happens maybe, once, yeah, maybe once a week at the very maximum, maybe 2 or 3 times a month. And so that leaves us enough time and energy and saving to save for the big stuff that we love that costs money. And the big stuff for me, I love to travel. So hopefully in the future, we will be able to travel and do something big. And that's why the saving is going to be for hopefully in the next year or two. But for now, this is how I generate income. 5 ways. How about you guys? How do you generate income as minimalist? And you might have very creative ways of doing that, or you may have a full-time job. And either way, it's totally fine. It's whatever works for you and your family. So share in the comments your favorite way of generating income, earning money as a minimalist or baby minimalist, and or very experienced minimalist. Please share what you have to say, and I look forward to speaking with you in the next video. And subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it with other people. This is how this channel gets known. And maybe the 6th way that I will generate some income in the future might be through this YouTube channel. Who knows? But that could be in the long term. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See you soon.